Hey there, YouTube! So it's that kind of day for me to do another review, and I wanted to show you all the most symbolic vehicle in the Cadillac lineup, the Escalade. In front of me, I have this 2015 model, which is just hitting dealerships. This one doesn't even have a week here. 2015 marks the 4th generation for the Escalade, and it's the biggest update since 2007, as the previous gen rolled from 2007 to 2014, so the last gen had a long run. Does this mean this sexy behemoth no longer sticks to its roots? Certainly not. It's still a full-size, body-on-frame SUV, so it's still purely a truck, as it has forever been. As you'll probably know, the Escalade is the largest model in the lineup, and probably the most symbolic. Out of all the Cadillacs, it's the only one that has an actual name, Escalade. All the others make do with letters, such as ATS, CTS, SRX, and XTS, so it's hard to forget about the Escalade. Its 6.2-liter V8 puts out 420 horsepower and 460 foot-pounds of torque. It's paired to a 6-speed automatic, and it pushes this monster to 60 in about 6.5 seconds. Though it's not thirsty for blood as you may think, it still manages 21 miles per gallon on the highway, and it can tow 8,300 pounds. For 2015, the Escalade is sexier than ever. In no way does it look similar to its predecessor other than its size. The truck looks sharp and handsome from every angle you look at it from, and it just captivates your attention whenever you see one out in the wild. This particular Escalade happens to be the entry model, though it still comes generously equipped. These 20-inch wheels come standard, has magnetic ride control with sport and comfort settings, LED headlights, tri-zone climate control, the Q Infotainment System, 16-speaker Bose audio system with noise cancelling, and all the connectivity that you could ever ask for. This one is 4-wheel drive. One thing to note, its predecessor was all-wheel drive, meaning the system was full-time, as opposed to this one, you can put it into 2-wheel drive mode. The base price is about $71,000. Once you fully spec an Escalade, it can easily reach $90,000 plus. The Escalade is competing against vehicles such as the Mercedes GL Class, Lincoln Navigator, Infiniti QX80, the Lexus LX, and the Audi Q7. There's also the ESV version of the Escalade. That essentially means that it's an extended wheelbase, and it adds additional room to the third row and the cargo area. Notice how the rear wiper just hides under the spoiler. Makes you think of Range Rover. Sensors on the bumper. The truck has backup sensors and front sensors. There's also rear cross-traffic alerts too. The key fob / smart key has a rubbery feel to it, but it doesn't feel inexpensive. Lock, unlock, remote start. This pops open the glass to the liftgate. This other button pops the entire liftgate, and panic. Keep in mind, the liftgate is electronically assisted, so it involves no manual labor. You can also pop open the liftgate by sliding your foot under the truck, like so, and voila, liftgate pops open. Comes in handy if your hands happen to be full. But this only works if the smart key is within your hands or pocket. Notice the third row, not much of a cargo area when they're upright. Down here we have this cargo net and this little compartment to store whatever it is you want. Down here we have a power outlet, and these guys fold the third row electrically. And let me fold the second row. Now once you have the third row and second row folded down, you can see that you'll have a nice flat floor, making this great for cargo. But notice how the floor isn't completely leveled. As you look further ahead, it's slightly elevated, so if you were to place a beach ball all the way to the top over there, it would likely roll out of the truck. But nonetheless, this is an improvement, as the previous gen Escalade didn't even have a foldable third row. They were these separate seats that you had to pull out, which involved lots of manual labor. And there have been cases where Tahoe, Yukon, and Escalade owners had to chain their seats because thieves would break into the truck just to steal the third row, then sell it on eBay or at junkyards for hundreds. You can also close the liftgate by pushing this button up here, step away, and just let the liftgate do its job closing up. Get a look at this interior. Such a striking difference over its predecessor, and a breath of fresh air, as we had to deal with the old interior for 7 years. Now take a look at these seats. It's a massive improvement over the previous generation Escalade. Suede inserts, perforated leather inserts, and just look how bolstered it is from top to bottom. Powered seat. You can see how the bottom portion is adjusting up and down for more thigh support, backrest, and this is for the lumbar support. The top of the door panel is well padded. You have these suede inserts here too. The armrest is well padded, more of that exposed stitching. This is a plastic finish, but it feels rubberized, and it's the same deal down in the door pocket too. Memory seating for up to 2 settings. We have the door locks, power mirrors, and this is to collapse the side mirrors. Turn signals on the mirrors too. All 4 windows have an auto down function, but in addition, the front windows have an auto up function too. Window lock, and this seems to be the child lock. Now the key fob / smart key is within my pocket. There's no place to insert it other than within a cubby or your pocket again. Foot on the brake and start it up. The interior quality and fit finish just blows away the previous gen Escalade. It's just such a huge improvement, and it gives you a sense that you're actually within a premium car. The older one just didn't do that, at least in my opinion it didn't. Those looking to upgrade their 2014 or older Escalade should look into this. They'll appreciate the improvements done because they are great. Entire dashboard is soft to the touch, the leather finish, over to the airbag cover, the suede inserts, and more of that wood grain finish. The seats are a huge improvement over its predecessor. You can see all the contours and all the bolsterings here in the backrest and in the bottom section. So this is the seat I'd like to be in for hours and hours and hours. In the older Escalade, it was just such a flat seat, and I even became uncomfortable after having driven a few for long distances. There's lots of thigh support too, and the seat is high off the ground, so I'm well supported here. Lots of legroom for both the driver and the passenger, and the thing that I'm liking right now about this interior is just how open it is. I don't feel squished at all. Like in the ATS and CTS-V Sport that I reviewed a few weeks ago, the glove box has no latch, so you need to push this button and voila. Notice how the glove box was damped. It's about average size, it's not tiny at all. It has dual latches, so it shouldn't flap around, and the lid to the glove box is padded, so the quality does remain consistent here. Backup sensors and front sensors, stability and traction control. This is for the adjustable pedals, in my opinion. These buttons, complete afterthought. It should be placed somewhere closer, not all the way yay high into the dashboard. You can see them moving back and forth, both the brake and gas pedal. This is to adjust the suspension. It has a sport and touring mode. Right now it was in sport. The suspension was stiffened up a little bit just to give it a sportier feel. Put it back into tour would just make the ride softer. Now once again we're looking at the Q Infotainment System, no different at all than in the ATS and CTS I reviewed, so those who transition between any model throughout Cadillac will be quite familiar with the system and will know exactly what to do because everything is pretty much identical. They really wanted to make this system work as if it were like a tablet. Just swipe over to the left and you can see how you have more options, almost like as if you're working an iPad, but obviously it's not as fluid as an iPad. You can see how it stutters somewhat. This system obviously needs more horsepower. You can go to your phone, Pandora, weather alerts, climate control. Now, whenever I push anything, you can see it sort of takes a moment for it to think about it. Going back to the home screen again, go to navigation. You saw how it took about 3 seconds for it to get to the nav screen. But what I love here is the display. It's just so crisp and vibrant looking. Probably one of the clearest systems I ever used. See how I pinch in and out? It stutters and it takes a while for it to react. It's really not as fluid as you'd want it to be. Again, really one of the downfalls with Q is that it's just not powerful enough. It just needs that extra oomph for it to be fluid. It really isn't a bad system at all. Right now I'm in the climate control. It's a dual zone automatic climate control. Passenger and driver can adjust their temperature. Go into the phone. Right now I don't have my phone paired to this, so there's really not much to show you here. Press the compass or the little globe and it takes you back to the nav screen. The speaker takes you to your radio, obviously. And let's not forget this does have satellite radio and HD radio capability. This entire piece is a touch panel, so as you touch this black space here, the volume is going up. That's where I'm touching here, the volume controls. Some people have a knack of touching these silver bars, and that's really not how this system works. It's when you touch the black spaces or the little symbols here. The cool thing here is that there's a little motor inside that vibrates, so it gives you a sense that you're actually touching something, just for more feedback and you don't feel so disconnected. As you've noticed, there's a collaboration between this touch panel and the touch screen, so you can use either. Again, The climate control, I'm adjusting the temperature right now. Fan speed, as I tap it, it's very responsive, it doesn't lag at all. The heated and cooled ventilated seats, my seat is being cooled, so that feels nice right now. The panel also flips open, just touch over here. Flips open, as you can see within the cubby, there's a little LED to light it up, and you can see a little blue ring there. Within that is your USB port, so you won't fumble searching for your USB port, so that's quite nice. Close it back up. Further below, we have the slot for your CDs. The sides of the center console are well padded, so that's nice. Wood grain also looks great. Now, unlike the CTS, which has a lid that opens up electrically, this one opens up manually, so you need to apply some elbow grease in order to open them up. This one flips open instead of sliding. We have two cup holders here, and over to this little cubby, we have a power outlet and two USB ports, so that comes in pretty handy. And to close it, just push away and it slowly shuts. The armrest is well padded, love the stitching. You have this little tray here, I guess it serves as a pen or a coin holder, whatever you want to use it for. It also opens up, and it's quite sturdy. The entire center console is sure-footed. SD card slot, aux jack, and two more USB ports. And this center console is very deep, as you can see. Storage won't be an issue at all, and I love how there's a little LED in there. And here is the soft cloth that Cadillac provides you to wipe down the screen here, so that comes in handy. The owner's manual and a few lug nuts, another power outlet here. The steering wheel is leather wrapped and it's very thick. There are no side bolsterings. The wood grains were also carried over onto the steering wheel. Hands-free controls, cruise control, heated steering wheel, and to the side, volume controls for the radio, and this is your navigation pad over here in the instrument cluster. As I jiggle around that button, you can see all the different things that you can do. There's a bunch of settings that you can access, such as vehicle info, distance to empty, tire pressure, all those sort of things. I'm not going to get into that. This instrument cluster is very informative, and I love this mini version of the nav screen. The steering wheel also tilts and telescopes. Just move this button up, down, or back and forth, and just watch the wheel move around like an acrobat. Here in the turn signal stock, we have the instrument speed wipers and the rear wiper. Panel dim functions, headlamps. The default setting is automatic, so whenever you start this truck up, no matter what, the headlights will come on unless you decide to turn them off. And for the four-wheel drive, whether if you want it in two-wheel drive, automatic, or in 4-high. Here's your shifter. Obviously, it's column mounted. It's in drive. You can drop it down to M, and you can manually shift it by pushing the positive and negative here. You can see in the instrument cluster how the gears are going up. Now, this aside, I would like to see the shifter mounted here in the console. I think it would give the Escalade a sportier feel once you sit inside, because when it's mounted on the steering column, it just makes it feel like it's an older car. The tow haul mode. The headliner is soft. Unfortunately, we don't have a sunroof. Handles are damped. Sun visors have a mirror and vanity light. The lights are LEDs. Here in the overhead console we have a pouch for your sunglasses and the conversation mirror. This is for the interior lighting. All the lights are LEDs. This is where you want the liftgate to open, or how you want it to perform. You can turn off the electric function, or that it opens 3/4 of the way, or completely. It's basically where it parks itself once it's open. This is the HomeLink garage door opener. It's essentially a universal garage door opener, and the map lights. The rearview mirror dims, and below that we have the OnStar buttons. A quick peek in the back seat. Notice how cavernous it is back here. So much leg room, and no lack of space. So second row passengers are pampered when it comes to comfort. You look on the door panel, qualities remain the same as up front. You're not chipped of any qualities, and everything remains consistent. All the leather, suede, and wood grains. It's very nice. Legroom is just adequate back here. If anything, I think I have the seat adjusted further back than I would have wished, but my knees aren't touching the backrest. Seat pockets down here. Here we have the climate controls to the back seat. It also has an automatic function, and this is for the heated seats. The back seats are heated. I love how it basically is a mini version of the touch panel in front. Now, to access the third row, we need to tumble one of these seats. We can do so by pulling this handle right here, and the seat will tumble forward, like so, and now you'll be able to climb up and access the third row. Now, as expected, legroom back here is on the tight side. My knees aren't rubbing against the backrest, but my size 14 feet have a little bit of trouble pointing forward over here. So yeah, this is really the seat for children and short adults. But remember, this is the short wheelbase. In the extended version, you'll have more legroom and etc. In terms of being pampered, all you have are these cup holders, AC vents, and coat hooks. If you guys probably know, this isn't my first time driving an Escalade. I've driven a few of the previous gen, so I do have some backbone when it comes to experience in driving these. First impressions, nothing too mind-blowing. It rides about the same as the older truck, but better actually. The ride is quieter, it doesn't feel as wallowy thanks to the sport settings of the suspension. Mechanically, it's identical. It's roughly the same engine and transmission setup, so acceleration is not going to be that much better, and plus they weigh the same. The suspension is also the same. In back, we're dealing with that live axle. General Motors has never bothered in making an independent rear suspension for any of their full-size SUVs. It's the same deal with the Tahoe, Suburban, Yukon, you name it. I do love the growl of this engine. It just sounds amazing when you nail it. Just any input of the throttle and you just hear very authoritative. Excellent pickup too, has loads of low-end torque thanks to that 6.2 liter V8. Going back to the suspension, I feel this truck is in desperate need of independent rear suspension. It would take away some of that wallowy feel that you might get. The live axle is to blame for that. Plus the independent suspension would help reduce that hoppy feeling too. But you know, some people do like that old school feeling that you'll get in the Escalade. It gives you the sense that you're driving a big truck, and some people like that. On a smooth road like I'm driving on right now, this truck just rides beautifully. It's the kind of car that you just want to sit back, set the cruise control, and relax on a road trip. You'll feel like you're king of the road wherever you go. Now notice the backup camera. As I turn the wheel, you can see how this guide twists along with the steering wheel, so it gives you a sense of where the truck will go once you cut the wheel around. I'm at the end of an aisle of parking spaces. I'm going to cut the wheel all the way to the left, and we're going to see how many parking spaces does this thing need to get into another one. After driving this thing for the last hour, it has a great turning radius, and I'm just curious to see just how sharp it really is. All right, wheel all the way to the left. Wow. I'm literally 2 spaces next to the one I pulled out of. That's how great this is. I was like right there. It's amazing. Would I consider this a significant update over the older Escalade? I think so. Those who are buying the Escalade don't buy it for its sophisticated ride because, quite frankly, it doesn't have one. You buy the Escalade just to show off your wealth. It delivers lots of presents, and it just doesn't lack any of it. This thing won't struggle at all if you were to tow a bowed camper, as if you were towing a tissue box. So it's up for any task you throw at it. Those of you who are thinking of upgrading your old Escalade, I think you'll be pleased with the updates. The interior is so much better in terms of quality and style. No doubt, the exterior of this thing is just sexy. Those 2 things alone give you the sense that you're driving an entirely different truck. And that's a good thing because it gives you a sense that your investment was well worth it.
And if you happen to be in the Cleveland area and you're in the market for a new Cadillac, come on down to Crestmont Cadillac in Beachwood, Ohio, and talk to James Hecker. He can hook you up with a new Cadillac or pre-owned vehicle. Crestmont Cadillac is in the top 20 best performing Cadillac dealerships in the country and #1 in the state of Ohio. Let's not forget that. Along with the best selection of cars. If you want to contact James, his information is within the annotations that are popping up and in the video description down below the video. So anyways, YouTube, thanks for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed this tour.